say they're going to be born paralyzed or something. Why not opt for another child, right? Like,
isn't that eugenics though?
I'm a big fan of Peter Singer.
So you know he's pro-infanticide.
96% of embryologists would agree that life begins at C-section.
I'm not. I'd like to see a source on that.
Stephen Andrew Jacobs, University of Chicago. He interviewed over 5,000 biologists across the globe, over 1,000 academic institutions.
Would you mind, Stephen
Andrew Jacobs?
Would you mind if I look that up?
No, not at all.
So go on.
Oh, the question was, he put before the biologists far left, far right, and everywhere in between, when does human life begin? 96% said it begins at fertilization when sperm and egg fuse together.
Oh, well, okay, yes. It depends on your definition of life. I'm talking about personhood.
Well, what's the difference in your mind?
The difference is when, like, consciousness occurs, right? Like a frog is alive.
I'm sorry, not like what makes you a person, but like, why do you assume that not all humans are people?
No. Like, all humans are people.
Okay.
I don't think a fetus is a human yet.
What is it then, though?
It's...
What is...
It is...
I mean, this is a younger human than you and I, right? Clearly a human. This is a younger human too. Or what is this in your mind?
That is an organ of the mother.
Okay, well, hang on a second, though.
That's, like, still part of the mother.
Attached to the mom, right? But not part of the mom. The mom doesn't have, like, two brains. The baby's brains, the baby's brainwaves are her brainwaves. The mom's body doesn't tell
Yeah. No, once it has brainwaves, it's its own person. But I'm saying that it doesn't have brainwaves until after the limit for legal abortion.
No, the brainwaves, we detect them at 7 weeks by electroencephalogram. So if we could detect them at 7 weeks, would you say abortion's wrong at 7 weeks? Okay.
But I would also say that in the circumstance of when it imperils the mother's life,
sure,
it's right no matter what, because the mother's life takes over that of the child's life.
See, the difference is when you separate mom and baby, like an ectopic pregnancy maybe, you know what that is? So it just means the baby implants, it means outside of, baby should be in the uterus.
Yeah.
She can implant in the fallopian tube or abdominally. It's very dangerous for the mom, right?
Yeah.
You can separate mom and baby. Sadly, the baby will die. It's the only way to save the mom's life. So we do know baby's going to die, but you're not chopping her into pieces like you saw in the sign there, or poisoning her to kill her. You foresee her death. You don't want her death. When the mom's life's in danger, if she could save her baby, she would. There's just no technological way to save a child at, like, let's say 15 weeks or 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So the only reason baby dies is our lack of technology. We're not choosing to kill her. We're not saying that's wrong to save the mom's life. We're saying when you choose to kill an innocent child, that's immoral, whether frankly she has brainwaves or not.
So, not every choice, because sometimes if the mother has to choose, like if the baby's going to be born into a circumstance where they cannot be cared for, where they cannot be housed, or where they will have some sort of severe lifelong disability, I don't think that's right.
Okay, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're saying if they're going to face a life of suffering, it's better to kill them before they suffer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's a simplification of what I was saying.
And my point, though, is I think you and I can agree that suffering is not good.
Yeah.
We want to avoid suffering. But what do we do when we know someone is going to suffer? I would say help them. You would say kill them?
So I would say that in most cases of, like, when a child is going to be born, would say they're going to be born paralyzed or something, right? Like, why not opt for another child, right? Like,
isn't that eugenics though? And you're saying, like, this life is not worthy of life. I want a more perfect baby.
So no, eugenics would be when you're, like, trying to go for, like, racial traits or something like that. Like,
well, that's not what it means. I mean, it's just like the Ubermensch, right? It's Superman. That's what you want. You may choose, it has been on race, but now this sounds kind of ableist. We're saying those who aren't well-bodied, there's a better...
No, I get that. What I'm saying is that it's ultimately the mother's choice as to whether, because that could also impose, like, severe difficulties on the mother's life.
Yeah.
And the mother is the one who makes the choice as to whether or not to have the kid in the first place.
Okay.
Right? So if the mother doesn't want a kid for any reason, she doesn't have to have a kid.
By not having sex?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's one option. If, say in the case of rape, say the mother is a 14-year-old girl who was raped. She doesn't want a kid. Obviously, no 14-year-old girl.
She's a child herself. Yeah.
Yeah, wants to have a kid. Even going through, like taking the baby to term, would be a traumatic experience for that child.
Okay.
Right? So I feel like it's reasonable for abortion in that scenario.
Is that the only scenario you would justify abortion? Like, would you say that others are all wrong?
I think in cases of rape, in cases of underage pregnancy, I think in cases of severe disability or like harm to the mother,
Yeah.
those are the main cases.
So what if I said, for the sake of argument, this is not true, but for the sake of argument, I'm fine with abortion in all of those cases. What about a 40-year-old woman, or 35-year-old woman who is pregnant, married, has a nice house, nice job, just doesn't want a baby? Would that be okay to have an abortion at 20 weeks?
Oh,
You got it? Okay, we'll be there in a minute. Thank you.
No, I'm not arguing for free abortion in all cases.
It's just the limited ones.
I am against people who argue for no abortion at all, right? Because there certainly are cases when it is justified.
Okay, well, let's look at those cases then, though. The difference, when the mom's life's in danger, that's not elective abortion. A miscarriage medically is a spontaneous abortion, where baby dies spontaneously and then comes out, right? So abortion really means a cessation. Vaginal birth is an abortion. We're talking elective abortion where you choose the death of the baby.
Yeah.
So we're saying that's always wrong. Because when mom's life's in danger, there's an option that's not elective abortion. Mm-hmm. You can separate mom and baby, foreseeing the death of the child, but not wanting it. That's not choosing death. I think I can say across the board, it's always wrong to choose the death of a child. In the same way I could tell you across the board, it's always wrong for a man to rape a child.
Yeah.
Always wrong, there's no justification for that.
Yeah.
I could agree it's wrong for a man to always violate a girl sexually. Why can't we agree it's always wrong for a man to dismember a child?
So no, you're right. And there are very complicated moral situations wherein you have two wrongs and you have to choose the lesser of two wrongs.
Okay.
So in the case of where the mother has to choose over putting her own, it could ruin a woman's life to have a child who is severely disabled. Say she has a bright career path ahead of her and she simply cannot afford to, financially or mentally or any other situation, to have that child.
Okay.
Right? I think the mother should have the choice to put her own life ahead of that.
Okay. So, I understand that you are saying that she should have that choice, right? But on what basis are you choosing between mom and baby? If they're both equally human, and I see the mom and child as equal, truly equal, you seem to divide and say that that one is above the other. I'm curious why you choose the mom over the baby.
Because until a certain age, until the baby can talk, until it can form its own opinions, it can't make a choice.
That's fair. True.
So the mother has to make choices for it.
True.
Right? So the mother is the one who should make the choice as to whether or not she goes through with that, right? So
does that
ultimately it all lays in the mother's hands.
But is the child a person before he or she can make those choices and talk and such? Like a 1 month old?
I'm not sure it's a binary, but they are more of a person than a fetus, I would agree.
Are they equal in personhood to the mother?
I would not say so. I would say that, I would say an adult is more of a person than a 6-year-old.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Because they have had more life experiences, they have had a chance to form their own opinions more fully, they have a better understanding of the world.
What do you mean by personhood when you say it? When I say person, I mean legal rights come along with that personhood. What do you mean by it?
So it's not just the legal definition, it's the moral capability of being an independent entity, right?
Okay.
So it comes with independence and that comes with age.
So how old are you?
22.
So I'm 40. So am I more of a person than you?
Probably, yeah, I would agree with that.
So should I have more rights than you legally, or more of a vote than you politically? What comes along with being more of a person?
Well, no, this is aside from the legal question.
Okay, so
This is the moral.
Okay, so let's come back to the legal question then.
Yeah.
Are mom and child legally equals?
At what age?
6 years old, mom's.
Yes.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about 6 months old born?
Yes.
6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 months preborn. Or is she equal to the child?
I would not say so.
Okay. And what's the difference?
The difference being that it's again, personhood comes with independence.
Okay.
6 months unborn cannot like even breathe independently, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're getting oxygen from the mom's blood, right?
Yeah.
I actually agree with you on that idea. I just don't think our differences really matter when it comes to our rights or value, because I think you rewind the clock, right? It's not that long ago, happening now across the globe. Men look at women and say, you're different, you're other, you're not equal. White looked at black in America, said different, other, not equal. We have this long history of saying because some people are different from us, therefore not equal. Now you're not doing what they did, but you're looking at someone saying because you're younger and can't do the things I can do, you're not equal to me in personhood or in legal rights. It feels like you're standing on their shoulders, changing the terms, but same idea of saying those who are other than me don't count like me.
I think it's a far more severe difference than the things you said.
I think because you have the benefit of looking back at history, it's easy to condemn what happened back then. We've learned, we've moved beyond, right, a lot. I mean, we still have sexism and racism, but we've understood generally how bad they are. But now you, a conscious thinking person, have decided you must be conscious like me to be a person.
Yes.
It's not that different from me saying you have to have my skin color. I've chosen something about me, or my sex organs, so you have to have the same organs I have to matter. I know it's different, but how is it any less arbitrary for you to say you must be like me, conscious?
So let me put it to you like this way. I care about life. I'm a big animal rights activist, right? So I value the lives of animals, but I would never put a dog's life before my own.
Sure, I understand that.
A dog is alive, it has rights, it has independence. You could say that it is like it has its own personhood almost, right? Because like it has emotions, it has feelings, it has memories. But I would not say that the two are equal.
I agree with you. I actually really agree with that. I think we all believe that there's human exceptionalism. Like when a shark forcefully copulates with some other shark, no one says the shark committed rape.
Yeah.
They're not by nature moral creatures. We're moral beings, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying that a fetus is not a moral being.
Okay, but it's the same kind of being we are, right? It's
Only
equally
genetically,
human.
Only genetically, not mentally, not morally, not philosophically.
But see, the same is true with the three of us. We differ in our IQs, we differ in our experience, our age, right? But we are equally human. We have the equally, being men versus a woman. We're not more of a human than she is,
So,
right?
So what about a person in a coma?
Okay.
A person in a coma has no brain signal.
Well, okay, I mean, if they're like brain dead, that's different from actually being in a...
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's
What do you
talk
mean,
about
sorry?
someone who's brain dead.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Brain dead, there is no living person left.
I think I draw a moral equivalence in the value of a brain dead person's life and a fetus's life.
Okay,
I think
but
that's probably my stance.
I understand that, but think about what the brain does, right? When you're dead, brain dead, do you know why we declare you brain dead when your brain is dead?
Not medically.
Okay, well, like the reason is like you can go to a morgue and there are still living parts of those humans, but they're not. The system's not working anymore. There's no organism. The body parts aren't talking to each other. The brain facilitates all of that. So when your brain dies, you are no longer an organism. You will be dead. The preborn baby, before the brain is even present, is already working in organized or coordinated fashion as an organism. She doesn't need the brain yet. So the function of the brain is already met in the 1 day zygote. There just isn't a brain needed yet, but all of her body parts are working together along a trajectory. She's not yet brain dead. So you already have the function of the brain being keeping the organism together. That's already in place.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that they are brain dead. I'm saying that they are morally equivalent, right? Like if you have the chance to save a person's life or someone who is brain dead's life, I think it's a clear choice.
Because one is dead doesn't exist anymore. There's only one person left.
Well, no, because the brain dead person is still an entity.
But not a living entity. Their machine is keeping their, like the breathing happening, but there's no real person left.
All right, so a fetus is not a living entity by that standard because the mother is keeping it alive. If you take the fetus out, it's not going to continue living. If you take it off the life support, right?
Here's the difference. It's comparable to someone on a ventilator needing that help to breathe. So the baby needs help to breathe, but the brain dead person is not breathing. The oxygen's going in their body, but they can't actually move it into the body parts that they need. Like, it's not actually working.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just think it's still, the moral equivalence is still there.
But do you see a difference between like a young child who cannot yet sexually reproduce? She can't do that yet, right? It's something in time she'll be able to do, but she cannot yet do that. That's different than someone who is brain dead, who never again will have that. The function is different. Like when you don't have a function yet, but you're going to get it, that's different than it's gone. Like you had it and you lost it, never can get it back. There's a distinction there. Do you agree with that?
I see that.
So the fetus just needs time to develop that brain activity. By virtue of being a human being, she already has consciousness and brainwaves, all that is a part of her nature. There's a reason like embryos and women don't grow up to be adult felines. They have a human nature that determines the kind of things they'll do someday. They just need time to develop that. That's different than someone who's brain dead who will never get it again. It's gone. So that's why I say it's not equivalent. One just is developing, one is gone.
Okay, fair. But I think it's like in that state, right? They already have. So yes, you're saying that they have potential and therefore they have like, they will have value later on. No,
I'm sorry. I'm not saying they have potential to have value. I'm saying they're a person with the potential to do the things you and I do, but they already are a person. Their value is already there before anything they can do or will ever do. I guess because I see values like you and I separate animals from humans, right? Because of the kind of thing they are. It's not what they can do. Cats, some animals, Peter Singer, Princeton University, says that the pig is smarter than the newborn.
Oh, I agree. I'm a big fan of Peter Singer.
So you know he's pro-infanticide.
Define infanticide.
Killing newborns. He would say, if you read Practical Ethics, have you read his book?
I've read excerpts from it.
Yeah, same. I haven't read the whole thing either. But in his chapters on infanticide, euthanasia, abortion, he's very clear that the right to life, it's the Christian's fault. Like we in the Roman Empire, we started bringing forth this idea that God made all humans equal. He rejects that. I say it's true. We as Christians, we do say God made all of us equal in his image. Peter Singer says we're not. It's functions like brainwaves, conscious, like you're saying. He says the newborn doesn't have that. The newborn is not self-aware. And so if a baby is disabled, it would actually be moral to have infanticide kill the newborn disabled child. It's only wrong if the parents don't want it. If the parents want it, it's actually moral to kill the newborn who's disabled. I find that shockingly ableist.
I would agree that it's probably ableist, but I'd have to read that article. Because
it's his book, Practical Ethics. Just pick that up. Check it out. I mean, I think it's shocking. I mean, actually,
I think it is shocking because, like, it's because of our sensibilities. But I have a feeling that if I actually read through his argument, he would have a point. Now, I'm not arguing for that, but I'm not saying that it is completely unreasonable either. I think that these are very complicated moral issues, and there may be like solutions that we do not find acceptable at first glance.
I think it's a fully consistent argument he makes. I think he just misses one very simple point, and that is that humans are different by definition from animals, not because of what we do. I think if you have a hit and run with a squirrel versus a mentally disabled child, even if the squirrel is more mentally bright than the child, it's worse to hit the child than the squirrel. I also agree, like, this is not my view. I'm stealing from Christopher Kazor, a book, Ethics of Abortion. I highly recommend. He goes through a lot of these in greater depth, but he says if you eat a Harold burger versus a hamburger.
A what?
A man Harold, like you fry him up, eat a Harold burger versus a hamburger. Even if Harold is less intelligent than the average cow or cattle, it is still worse to eat Harold than the cattle. Or if you have two families, like both starving, one family kills the family dog to feed the family, the other kills the newborn baby to feed the dog. These are not moral equivalents. Even if the dog is brighter, smarter, more communicative, it's worse to kill the human because humans are somehow different. There's something different about us. And it's not what we can do, because some people just don't have the moral sensibility you do or I have.
So I think we got mixed up. I wasn't trying to draw an equivalence between animals and...
Okay, sorry, I may have misunderstood you.
No, but...
I was more attacking Peter Singer's view, sorry, but that's not your view. Sorry.
I'm not sure if Peter Singer's view relied on an equivalence between humans and animals either. Though
he's a very big activist.
I wouldn't be surprised. He does take things a bit far with animal rights. But I think my point is ultimately that it is. I think we should leave the choice to the mother, and I think you have a lot of good points. I think you would be better off trying to convince people not to get abortions rather than convincing people that abortion should be illegal. you know, because I think that the choice should be left to people.
Well, I mean, today, as you probably saw, we're not advocating for any law.
Yeah.
We're trying to reach people's heart. Dr. King, obviously not the same battle we're fighting, and we're not saying he's a moral hero in every way, but his idea was America would not reject racism until they saw it, because this idea is talking about, you have to really see the ugliness, then it like burns its way into your heart.
Yeah.
That's why we have the pictures here, because we recognize that in the same way people just won't really reckon with what abortion is or even consider rejecting it until they see how bad it really is. So even if it's legal, we want to stop it now.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, you've seen what happened since Dobbs. Like abortion, the states can now regulate and limit it, but a lot of states are passing initiatives to make it legal through all 9 months. It doesn't stop us. Sadly, in Ohio, our home state, we just passed a constitutional amendment declaring that everyone has a fundamental right to abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. Issue 1 passed last year. We fought against it, we lost, but here's the point, like, it's not just the law for us. We can keep doing this because we think that what you're saying, educating people, changing what they think and feel, that can save lives now, regardless of the law.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking.
What's your
to
name?
me. Justin Scully.
Justin, I'm Seth. It's nice to meet you, Justin.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice
Of course,
to meet you.
of course.
Have a great
You guys
What are you studying, Justin?
Physics.
Nice. Keep it up. That's great work. That's important stuff. All right, take care.